PJ.TV is on the air. It's 9:35 East Coast time, and our bumper is running. We are recording, streaming to Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube simultaneously. Our guest is standing by, and we are counting down to Studio 20. I forgot to pull the curtain. Yes, I did. I can't make this work. Well, add that to the misery, folks. Folks, our guest is... Oh, here's what I'll do. I'll do this. Here, I got it. Folks, sorry, the curtain, it didn't work right. Add that to the list of crazy things going on tonight here at pjnet.tv. But we love it. This is live, and if you didn't know, just observe the errors as they occur, and you'll realize that we didn't record this. Now, Michelle Medlock Adams has one friend left. So she had no choice but to invite her remaining one friend to join us tonight, who comes to us from the Republic of Texas, I'm told. Woo-hoo! Michelle tells me that you characterize Texas. Now, was that a compliment?
Oh, I think it is. It makes my heart happy for her to say that.
Okay. Folks, this is Wendy Lanier, a friend of Michelle. Now, Wendy, we might as well just be honest with the audience. We both had about, 1 hour of notice that this was going to happen at this time? Something like that?
Just about. And I was at church at the time, and I had a 30-minute drive home.
Yeah.
In the mix.
You must have been doing a lot of repenting. That's right. It's Wednesday night. You're behind. Yeah, that makes sense. It is. But you and Michelle, tell us the story. How did you meet Michelle? Is there anything that you like about her? How do y'all get along?
Oh, Michelle and I go back to about 2002, somewhere in there, at Glorietta Christian Writers Conference. And if you've been to some of the big writers conferences, you know that you're there for several days, and you get cafeteria food, and it's pretty awful. And I learned early in the game that if I was going to survive a week at with camp food, I was going to have a car and be able to go into town. So I always had a rental. And one day I was driving, I had about enough cafeteria food, and I was driving through the parking lot, and Michelle was walking to her, she was walking through there. She had her arms full of stuff and her great big bag, and she saw me, and she bent down and she looked in the car and she said, "Where are you going?" And I said, "I'm going into town to get something to eat." And she goes, "Can I come?" And I said, "Sure."
Total stranger.
And we went into Santa Fe. We had a lovely meal, and a friendship was born, and we've been friends ever since. So we got to know each other through writers' conferences, and we've been through some stuff together, over the years. But she's a hoot.
You think? Apparently, it's literally true. She was like a hitchhiker you picked up, literally. Kind of. Yeah. Sort of.
But as I said, my husband calls her a force of nature. So
I will process that and determine if that's a compliment or not later.
It definitely is. Yeah.
Now, Wendy, behind you is a poster. And for those who are watching this on their mobile device, it's a postage stamp size, but I will help you read it. It says Puppy Dog Devotions. Now, there's nothing cuter than a puppy.
True.
But they grow up.
That's okay.
And have more puppies. Puppy Dog's Tales is one of Michelle's endeavors, or at least she's in on it.
Yes.
But does your life revolve around puppy dogs? Is that?
We are dog lovers, both of us, and we're the kind of dog lovers that Well, let's just say that any dog that belongs to either one of us is treated like family,
Mm-hmm.
and is. I've had a few rescues in my life, and anybody that meets them knows they landed in tall cotton when they got in our family. Bless you. Bless you.
You couldn't hear that. I turned the mic off. It would have been thunderous. This is a good night, folks. I'm telling you. No, I'm actually going through some sniffles and the scratchy throat thing, and that's usually a sign that worse is coming. So, do you have a favorite breed?
Well, we owned Dalmatians. When my husband and I married, for the first 3 years we were married, we had a rental, so we couldn't have a
rental
dog.
Dalmatian?
No. But we were renting a house, and we couldn't have a dog. So at one point, though, my husband said, I think that if we're going to be able to agree on a dog, it's going to be a Dalmatian. And shortly after we bought our first home together, we got a Dalmatian. My folks got one from the same litter, and we had a Dalmatian for 10 years. And then shortly after he passed away, we got another one, and we had him for 14 and a half years, I think. So we've had Dalmatians, but since those two, we've had a lot of rescues. In fact, I've written quite a few devotionals about a lab Catahoula mix that we picked up just before Hurricane Rita back in 2005. She passed away last August. Mm-hmm. And I've written devotionals about her in the past. And so we just like dogs. And as the years have gone on, we feel more inclined to take on a rescue dog, or to one that somebody else doesn't want, rather than searching out a specific breed. Michelle's partial to Dachshunds. I'm kind of partial to Dalmatians, but really I just love my puppies. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what they are.
So you write devotions, based puppy dog devotions. I mean, how far can you take that? I mean, after you do a few stories, how do you connect spiritual truth using puppy dogs as an illustration? Oh,
I think if you're paying attention, God's creation in general is pointing you towards Him. Mm-hmm. When we talk about the heavens declare the glory of God, the heavens are pointing you toward Him. But all of nature is as well. And I think dogs, it's just my opinion, of course, but I think dogs are especially good at it. With Miss Brooks, who was the rescue that we found just before Hurricane Rita, we picked her up on Brooks Road, and she became our Miss Brooks. Mm-hmm. And at that time, we weren't planning to get a dog. We weren't going to keep her. It was only because the storm intervened, and we wound up having to evacuate with her, and then we had to have a leg removed. And then at some point you're thinking, we're not getting rid of this dog. She's already part of our family. Mm-hmm. But Miss Brooks taught me something. I remember saying, Lord, why this dog? Why now? And He was teaching me some things through her. And I've learned to look, to pay closer attention. With Puppy Dog Devotions, which is a book that Michelle and I wrote together, we were looking specifically at different breeds. We were looking at the characteristics of those breeds, and as we talked about them, or as we thought about them, there were things about those dogs that pointed us to God. And as you read through it, I told Michelle the other day, this book is meaty. It's full of meat. Now it's cut into bite-sized pieces for kids or whatever, but it's meaty. Mm-hmm. Because the lessons are there. We just have to pay attention.
Well, I'm thinking different breeds of dogs obviously have different characteristics. I have a German Shepherd, mm-hmm. and one of the characteristics of that dog is he's always on watch. Mm-hmm. He accompanies me in the studio during the day, and sometimes when we're on the air. But I had to literally raise the blind where he can see outside.
Yeah.
And he will sit there and just look out that window on watch. Mm-hmm. And it's like, that is amazing that dog is so bonded to me that he feels he's protecting me.
Yeah.
And okay, so then there's a Labrador, a retriever type dog, working type dogs
Right.
that serve. They go fetch things. They fetch the wallpaper off the walls when they're puppies.
Yeah, they can.
Poodles are known for their intelligence. They're
Right.
smart. So what are some of the characteristics that you have noted in particular breeds?
Well, throughout the book, we looked at the various breeds, both of us, and we just talked about what is the thing that stands out. For example, you mentioned the German Shepherd, and right off the top of my head, I don't remember. Remember, we didn't know we were doing this an hour ago, so I didn't review. But the thing that comes to my mind right this minute is, be sober, be vigilant. Because your adversary, the devil, walks about as a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. A German Shepherd is vigilant, always. They never let their guard down. And the Bible tells us to be the same way. You have a boxer. A boxer can be all business, but a boxer is a clown at heart. He likes to make you laugh. The Bible tells us that a merry heart does good like a medicine. If you have some dogs I was looking at one today, the Kiesan. Now, my husband had owned a Kiesan in a previous, or Kiesan, as some people say, in a previous time in his life. But they were, the name came because they belonged, there was a man named, he had a Dutch name, and he was part of a movement to overthrow the aristocracy in his country. His dog became the symbol of that movement. He was the dog, he was literally Key's dog. Okay. And the thing that I took from that is that dog became associated with that movement. It had nothing to do with, didn't matter what the dog did, but that movement was eventually overthrown. And anyone who had a dog like that after that had to get rid of it because they didn't want to be identified with
the movement and the dog.
Right.
The dog.
And what I did was I said, we are who we hang out with, for good or ill. We become like the people we associate with. So we have to pick people who are uplifting and positive and who are believers and speak the right things into our life. Because if we don't, we're going to hang out with somebody who's going to and I used to teach school, and I would tell my kids this all the time. You are who you hang out with. But that's a lesson that we can take from the Kaysen.
What possible good is a Chihuahua?
I didn't write that devotion. Michelle did, because I couldn't find one either. But Chihuahuas are great companion dogs, and they're very loyal. I know that much. But
they just yap. That's all they do.
They yap a lot, and they get nervous. They're fearful. But as long as they stay near their owner. And what's the lesson there? As long as we stay near the Lord, as long as we stay near, I've thought of that. That was a lesson I learned from Miss Brooks. Almost right off the bat, I said, Lord, what is this about? Why do I have another dog at this point? We don't need a dog right now. And he said, have you noticed that she never lets you out of her sight? And I said, yeah. I mean, I literally would trip over her. She stayed where she could see me all the time. And he said, you're her savior. Yeah. He said, I'm yours. Don't let me out of your sight.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh,
yeah.
Okay. She's an object lesson. Yeah. And I think all dogs are to a degree, if we're paying attention.
It's been said that many times a dog and their master are similar in appearance. And when I knew that was probably had some truth in it, was a guy had this English bulldog. The ugliest damn thing I've ever seen in my life, He's ugly. And those dogs, their face is all smashed in, and they breathe in a lot of air, and it escapes out the rear hatch. That's the farthest dog I've ever seen in my life. But I've also heard, and I think there's some wisdom in this, be the person your dog thinks you are.
True.
They
Yeah.
always love.
Yeah. They do.
They just,
Regardless.
yeah. And it is a constant reminder of God's persistent pursuit of us because he loves us.
Mm-hmm.
I remember saw a story. A dog had gotten lost, and they had sent out a dispatched a party to search for it, but it got dark, and they had to call off the search for the night. And somebody said to the owner, "Take your jacket and put it down on the ground."
Mm-hmm.
Guess where that dog was next morning?
Laying right on top of that jacket.
Isn't that something? Isn't
Mm-hmm.
that amazing?
Yeah.
It just mind blowing. And the service type dogs, the German shepherds, the police make use of German shepherds because they have the ability to learn things, and
Mm-hmm.
they can be dangerous. They can, but the thing is they're not aggressive. How do I say it? It's not their nature to attack things, but they will on command.
Yes.
And that dog will literally put its life. It will die for you.
Yes.
It will die
Just like
defending you.
Jesus died for you.
Yes, there's so many lessons
Yes.
that we
I
could learn
saw
from animals. Just
I
from
saw a
animals.
video recently of there was a guy he standing in water. It happened in Florida. The guy's standing in water. He's got the stub of a cigar in his mouth, which he never turns loose, but he reaches down into that water and you wonder, what is he doing? And he pulls up an alligator, and in the mouth of the alligator, it looks like a little spaniel of some kind. And that guy takes that alligator's mouth and pries it open until he gets his dog out. And the dog runs off. But when the video starts, the alligator and the dog are not visible.
Mm.
But think about that. Your Heavenly Father is just like that owner. He'll do whatever. He'll reach down and grab that alligator and pry its jaws open to get you loose from whatever it is that you need to get loose from.
So many amazing stories. And
Yeah.
there's a lot we can learn from animals.
Yeah.
And dogs aren't the only ones.
No.
But as you said, the creation, nature, declares the glory of God. When you see cardinals, the male and female, they mate for life. They mate for life.
Yeah.
A lot of other animals don't. They just have season, but not cardinals. No, they mate for life. I watched elephants. A baby elephant died, and the mother stayed behind to ward off the varmints from eating the carcass as long as she could. At some point, she couldn't. But when the varmint, the hyenas, began devouring that corpse, the mother died of a broken heart. Literally died. The elephant literally died of a broken heart.
That hurts my heart.
Well, there's so much we can learn if we would just pay attention. God is talking to us and reaching out to us in so many ways. If we would only stop a moment to pay attention. But I'm glad that you are sharing stories like that. And anytime Michelle sends somebody our way, we know we're in for a good ride. Wendy, our time is up. I wish we had more time, but we've enjoyed you sharing with us tonight. I know it was on short notice, but thank you. Thank you for meeting that challenge. And hopefully next time there'll be more notice. Send me an email, we'll chat, and maybe we can do this again and plan it.
Yeah, wouldn't that be a novel idea? That'd be great, wouldn't it?
It would be. Wendy, thanks so much for sharing. We've enjoyed every minute of it.
Well, thank you for having me. It's been a great pleasure.
All right. Folks, that was fun. So that you see right there is the view from atop the Eagle's Nest. That's the broadcast facilities here at pjnet.tv. And that's going to wrap it up for tonight. We'll be back tomorrow night, and I've got a meeting in 5 minutes. But I wouldn't feel right if I left without challenging you with two questions with which I challenge myself on a regular basis. The first question goes like this: what is the boldest thing you have ever done for Jesus Christ? Now, regardless of your answer, move on to the second question. How long ago was that? I just hope and pray that none of us will be satisfied with either answer.